Welcome to Weekly Strange News. In this show, take a look into the news and headlines to pick out curious reports of the strange, the weird, and the mysterious. Anything from UFO news to science advancements, the paranormal, and stuff labeled fringe science and fringe phenomena. Each news item we go over in this show, I will place all the links to them in the description box below once this live show is over, as well as chapters on the timeline index. Hello and welcome to all of my first-time viewers and listeners, everyone watching this live, and of course, also those catching it on replay. Please show your support by hitting that like button right down below for this video and subscribe if you haven't already, as we do 3 live shows right here on this channel every single week, covering topics from UFOs, the paranormal, and things that are unexplained. Really quick, there's not going to be any shows next week. I'm going to be traveling, visiting family. Make a little note of that. All right. Okay. We got some really cool articles this week. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to share my screen here and get straight into it. We're going to start off with a UFO sighting. And I already know that like my audio and my video is just like a second off. I know it. And I'm really sorry. It's been a weird day already. But let's go on to this because this is really interesting. Because according to the Mirror UK, a flight attendant, the one that we're seeing right here by the name of Denisa Tenese, she saw a UFO in the sky during her flight, or while she was at work, to Poland. So she is attendant on the Wizz Air journey from Luton, England to Poland, and she was taken aback by an unusual sight outside her window. And so this is what she saw. She initially dismissed it, and she recorded the scene on her phone, though, which is really smart. Like, even though it might seem a little normal to you or trying to rationalize it, the least you can do is take a picture, take a video, and then look it over once again with fresh eyes or show it to someone else. Like, that is the best ideology to have, and she killed it here. So she's recording this on her phone, but after she was reviewing the footage 20 minutes later, she was stunned to find a UFO moving alongside the aircraft, unlike anything she had ever seen. Excuse me there. So she's had a year's experience as a flight attendant, so not that much under her belt, but enough to have an idea of what's going on in the skies and how to identify or distinguish interesting objects or anomalies. But this particular one, she thought to herself, this is really bizarre. And this wasn't in the books. I did not learn this in class to be a flight attendant, which, by the way, they have to go through pretty extensive, rigorous training in order to be a flight attendant. Like, if you look it up, you have to learn how to give birth, which is crazy. You know, like basic, like very basic nursing stuff and a few other things. So this was not a part of the curriculum. So upon examining the video, she noticed a distinctively shaped object emanating a pink flash, moving in a way that suggests it wasn't a mere reflection. Now, the footage revealed 4 pink orbs blinking in the night sky, and all I was able to get, sadly enough, was just particularly this image, but there are a few. But this one I thought was the most compelling one out of all of them. And the sighting adds to the growing number of online claims of ET sightings, and this time featuring pink entities. And this was rather recently. Like, this is why I'm bringing this up. This was just documented. When I'm saying documented, I mean the Mirror reported it. But it's weird seeing this pinkish glow. Now, could it have been a regular atmospheric phenomena? Off of just a photo, it's very difficult to say. Now, a video, you have more to work with. Now, is this possible that it's something very mundane? Sure, definitely. But I thought it was strange, and I said, I have to cover this because I know I'm going to have people say, did you cover this case? And or think to themselves, well, I think it is this because of ABC, for whatever reasons, right? I thought it was really interesting. I can pretty surely say, and you can bet your boots, that it's not Venus, all right? Could it be swamp gas at that altitude in that location in Poland? Highly doubt it. Could it be Chinese lanterns? If they want to put those up there, but why would it be purple? Okay, serious question. Purple is the color that really throws me aback here. A lot of times when people have UFO sightings, or even like your more mundane sightings that people think that are UFOs, you see a lot of whites, shades of blue, very rarely shades of green, but purple. That's a pretty cool one. I'm digging it. But I have to ask you for sure, what do you think it is based off of the image alone? Or is that just not enough information for you to come up with a possible conclusion or hypothesis here? I'm trying to see what you guys are saying. Definitely bet your boots. Moon at Noon says, doesn't look everyday mundane. I don't think so either. I thought it was strange, but I said, hey, I don't know what it is. Let's go ahead and cover it. Well, while you simmer on that one, let's get into our next one here because we are speeding through this. This one was really interesting. So, this one, shout out to Malaysia, by the way. Hey, how's it going? This story is for you because residents in a small town of Malaysia by the name of Kampung Kepis, that probably sounded so butchered, okay? And I apologize, but we're going to continue anyway. And so they've been experiencing a series of unexplained events for the past 2 weeks, creating a tense atmosphere in the village, as reported by the New Straits Times. So these mysterious occurrences included inexplicable knocking on doors and sightings of a shadow like figure resembling a human. But the situation escalated on a recent Wednesday night when a 50-year-old by the name of Haslinda Hasim claimed to have seen a strange figure outside of her house at around 9:40 p.m. Earlier, her 17-year-old child had come home with a friend and insisted on securing the house due to disturbances at a neighboring residence. So Haslinda described hearing a noise outside, akin to something dropping or falling, and from her position, she noticed what appeared to have been an object falling, which led to her sighting of an unusual, shadowy figure that seemed to crawl. That's pretty spooky right there. And it's not even Halloween. We're way past that by now. So she initially dismissed the illusion, but her skepticism quickly vanished when the entity made eye contact with her, stood up, and then quickly disappeared into the night. Since then, her home has experienced 4 additional instances of these eerie disturbances. I want to back this up. There's more to this, but I want to just focus on this first sighting. When we first started covering this, in the sense of the first few sentences, it's like you could easily brush it off as anything. All right. It could have been someone walking in the neighborhood. It could have been a neighborhood prank with kids knocking on the door, like ding dong ditch, all that kind of fun stuff, right? Not fun for people that are the victim, but fun for the kids. But what grabs your attention here is where when Haslinda she dropped something because something had dropped in her like line of sight, that's when she saw a shadowy figure. And I'm emphasizing that because could it be a coincidence? Sure. Okay. Do I believe in coincidences? No, not at all. But people do, and that's a-okay. I'm not going to tell you one way or the other, or what to believe or not to believe, or what to do or not to do. But what I am saying here is we can use the same kind of, I'm going to use the word theory here, for people that have UFO sightings, where sometimes they are compelled to look up or something, they're looking at something and then all of a sudden they see a UFO because they were looking in that area. Could this be in the category of a similar situation? Do you see what I'm saying here? Or is it purely a coincidence? Think about it, simmer on it. We're making a beautiful miso soup today, and it takes a few hours to really get that umami flavor. But then what's even creepier here is that whatever this thing was, this shadowy like figure made eye contact with her. Bless this woman's heart. That's already spooky right there. And after that, she had 4 other eerie incidents happen in her home. But the most recent event occurred at 2:30 a.m., so close to the witching hour, by the way, but not just quite. So is it significant? Depends who you ask. But it involved a scratching noise on the walls and noises resembling an attempt to open a window. It's pretty freaky now. Could that be a person? Could that be a robber? Could be. Could be. But other villagers, like 67-year-old Miriam Johit, was have reported similar experiences. And Miriam's daughter saw the shadowy figure outside of their home after hearing the fence being shaken. During one incident, her daughter 38, saw the figure outside and rushed to the door, only to find it had moved to the side of the house, and then rapid footsteps were heard before the entity vanished. Despite the villagers gathering around Miriam's home, nothing was found. And then the chairman of the Development and Safety Committee there expressed his hope for a swift resolution to these disturbances, noting the significant fear and disruption that they have caused in the community, to the extent that some villagers are afraid to even use their own bathrooms. This is intense. This is very scary for the people living there. But could it be a mundane explanation? Can we even place it in the same category as the alleged predator alien attacks in Peru, where people were saying, no, actually, guys, it's just miners on jetpacks that are $600,000, need a license, wearing bulletproof armor? Can we place it in the same category? Are those two completely wild extremes that should not be placed in the same category? People all the time try to rationalize things because when we understand something, it makes us feel safe. When we don't understand something, that's when we feel these immense levels of fear. And that in itself, well, number one, people don't want to feel that unless it's in a controlled environment like a horror movie. Okay. And even then, I'm not for jump scares. I don't really dig them. I get whenever I leave like a movie theater, like I'm watching it at home, I am covered in sweat. I sweat all the time, to be fair with you. But like after a horror movie, I mean, I'm drenched. It's awful. But here, this is not a horror movie. This is not in a controlled environment. For these people in Malaysia, it's very real and they're living it. And that just makes it that much more terrifying. But could it be a simple explanation? Maybe, but no one's found anything yet. No one's caught anything yet. No one's shot anything yet. Could it be teenagers just having a fun little time? In some ways, it could be, but I think in others, it is a bit more difficult to say. Like, for instance, when you're having Haslinda, based off of her only witness account, by the way, to where she made eye contact with a shadowy figure, but didn't really define if there was any other characteristics. Are we dealing with shadow people here, like the Hat Man, for instance, or just your little chaotic children? What do you think about this case? Loki says, "Where's his jetpack?" Serious question, okay? And if they're just giving them out, I would love to have one. That'd be so sick. Can't be just everywhere. Forget cars, forget walking, forget running. Running is like my worst exercise on the planet. Jetpack everywhere. That is like the slickest move you could ever do. Yeah, all work and low pay. Yes, miso soup is the best, and we are making a dish today. And everything simmering for the weekend. So this one, I feel like it was worthy of a mention, but we're gonna get on to our next one here, and we're speeding through these, and that's totally okay because I got some pretty cool stuff for you. This next one is about a vampire. Well, is it really a vampire? Depends on the mentality during this time frame when this person was buried. So, according to Live Science, and let me tell you, I love Live Science. They got some really great stuff. But a recent archaeological discovery in Ukraine has unearthed a cemetery dating back 1,000 years, revealing a unique array of burial items, including axes, swords, jewelry, buckets placed at the feet of some of the deceased as well. So the cemetery, situated approximately 50 miles south of Kyiv, contains 107 graves, most of which feature burials in wooden coffins, which is very prevalent and normal during that time frame, about 1,000 years ago, up until just like a few hundred years ago, to be honest. So this discovery was detailed by two archaeologists from the National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine, And they presented this in a presentation at the Archaeological Institute of America's annual meeting in Chicago. That's cool. So, among the intriguing finds was this skeleton right here of a woman adorned with elaborate neck rings and arm rings, indicating of her social status. And the cemetery housed both male and female remains, with men often buried with weapons like axes and spearheads and swords, while the women's graves sometimes include intricate neck rings believed to be a social symbol in that area. And for the longest time, seriously, up until today, people want to be buried with their things. They want to be buried with their status. And what I mean by that is not actually by their status, but wearing the attire that they wore while they were alive to demonstrate to the rest of society of who they are and to not mess with them in all reality. But when the archaeologists first came across this, because Poland and that area, Poland, Ukraine, Slovakia as well, they've all had their fair share, and we've covered it here. They've had their fair share of unearthing graves that were created for at the time the people believed to be vampires. So they had their legs ready to be chomped off and they were to come back alive, a sickle over their neck. Like pretty spooky, gruesome stuff. And so when this was first seen, they said, "Whoa, this is a new mechanism to keep the vampires at bay because we don't want them sucking blood and hurting the people and spreading the plague because that was the mentality 1,000 years ago." But then after just a little bit more looking at it, they said, "Okay, no, actually, this is pretty normal and this is very cool as well." And I really liked this one. But in addition to these items, the archaeologists discovered a stone altar, bracelets, beads, and remnants of food offerings, including chicken bones and eggshells. And the altar's purpose, however, remains unclear, possibly serving in Christian or pagan rituals, or perhaps both, or perhaps neither. And I love that, however, although it's like the best part of any sentence when it comes to any kind of science or looking for any kind of evidence. Oof, those ones, they get me pretty excited. So the artifacts bear resemblance to those found in the Baltic region, hinting at a possible connection between the cemetery's occupants and the Baltic area. And this suggests that some individuals might have migrated to serve in the militaries during that time frame, and these reigns extended into the Baltic territories. So the cemetery's usage period coincides with the Christian conversion of the region, which I think is worth mentioning, by the way. And excavations of the site conducted between 2017 and 2022 have been halted due to the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine. And this pause has affected many archaeological projects in the country, including this particular significant discovery. The more you know. But this is something that I'd like to highlight here that we can sometimes forget because we have become a society where everything is instantaneous. We get the information so quick. When we text someone, we expect to get a response rather shortly. When I say shortly, I mean like the first minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes tops kind of deal, right? But there are certain things that happen across our planet that one either requires significant research and a lot of time, or things such as conflicts that can affect research as well. So while this site was first getting ready and doing its excavations in 2017, we are just now coming across this information of this particular woman in all these rings around her neck and around her arms in 2024 because of the crazy things that have been happening there, along with probably just doing a little bit more research before making that information public. Because let me tell you, people are so ready. They're so fast too. So if you say one thing wrong, they will start chomping at your ankles and then eating you up like a piranha all the way up to the top until there's nothing left but bones. So if you take your time, You do some research, you let it simmer, and then you provide a good, fat, amazing paper, like bunch of papers, if I had to be very specific here. That's when people will say, "Ah, man, I can't bring this person down." And that's how you do it. So in this case, I have to give these archaeologists props here. They didn't just jump on the bandwagon and say, "Oh my gosh, but little vampires." They said, "Hold on, let's look into this first, and then let's provide the paperwork." So I like that. This next one, oh, here's another image of a close up. It's pretty cool, actually. And if you're listening to this, the video link is in the description box below. Also, if you're enjoying the show, hit that like button as well. So we're getting to this one. This one I thought was really exciting because according to Live Science, NASA is planning a permanent lunar outpost by the end of this decade with the Artemis program, and then it got delayed and blah, blah, blah. We're pushing that information aside. We covered that last week or 2 weeks ago, and we really took it to town. But, talking about Mars here, okay? Yeah, the moon's kind of cool. A lot of questions, to be honest, of like why the significant delay. But Mars, this is a pretty cool place. Oh, and I have 2 articles for you that are really exciting about Mars. So, as humans establish bases in space, they will need to bring along ecosystems that include animals, which could play vital roles in these new environments. And when we think of space exploration, we don't always think about the food source or what ecosystems we need to bring in order to have our new environment thrive. The first thing that we usually think of is getting ourselves there, okay? And then exploration, and then obviously looking for alien tech, all right? Yes, I'm in that category. But when we have to do a serious sit down and think about all the ways in order to make it as habitable as possible, we need to consider these things. And I thought to myself, to be fair with you, I didn't consider all this. Why don't we cover it? And it was just written this week by Live Science. Let's put it in strange news. So currently, there is no consensus on which animals should accompany astronauts to the moon, Mars, and beyond. But astrobiologist David Catling suggests that elaborate ecosystems in space are still more science fiction than active research. Bow, bow. Just really a Debbie Downer here. However, the reduced gravity of the moon and Mars presents a significant challenge as it could affect the development of muscle and bone in animals, potentially making it difficult for them to stand or walk properly. Which, did you already think about that? Because I didn't. I'll be honest with you, I really didn't. And that is pretty good information because we know, based off of the people that have been in the ISS, the International Space Station, there is that muscle and bone, like almost disintegration, also bad eyesight as well. So you have planetary scientist Christopher McKay, who speculates that small animals like mice, aquatic life, might be the best candidates for space colonization due to these gravity concerns. So fish, supported by buoyancy, might not be as affected by gravitational changes and could be efficient as space livestock due to their feeding efficiency and low waste production. It's pretty cool. And then the Lunar Hatch program is exploring the feasibility of hatching fish eggs in space. This is crazy significant. And let me just tell you, it's stinking cool because we have to consider these things and we don't usually. But thinking about fish as our starter is well, for number one, putting it up there. All right. Sorry, to bring eggs, to bring the little babies, right? Because the less space it takes in a rocket, the better. But you want to bring in reptiles, you want to bring in plants, you want to bring in fish eggs so they can hatch in that new environment and adapt, right? I know people saying no audio. That was, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, but it's okay. We jumped back into it. But we also have to talk about bugs. I know it ain't everyone's cup of tea. Mine either, like flying cockroaches. I just cannot handle it. But insects are also considered viable for space colonization, and they require less space and water than traditional protein sources and could provide essential services like pollinating other plants and soil turnover in a cross loop life support system. We cannot live without bugs. I know we all have like pest control and we just don't want to deal with them, but we need them. We really do. But we don't need flying cockroaches. We don't need them. Okay? Everything else, all right. I can let it slide. The one thing we don't need, all right? Flying cockroaches. But then also crustaceans like shrimp and other options potentially useful in these systems for growing plants as well are also necessary. And lastly is tardigrades. Tardigrades I learned for the very first time in Star Trek Discovery. I did not know about them until I watched that show. Television and TV shows, while they might be for entertainment, you actually learn some pretty cool stuff. So let me ask you this in the live chat, in the comments, what is one super cool fact or piece of information or anything that you didn't know from a TV show or even a movie, not including your historical stuff, not including like your documentaries, but I mean something that you watched for entertainment and then you learn something that is true and you're like, whoa, that's crazy. For me, it was tardigrades, water bears. And they're not cute. People are like, "Oh, they're so cute." No, they're not. They're not adorable by any means. That face, it's like a leech face, ready to just take everything from you. But because they are known for their extreme resilience and they're being studied for their ability to endure harsh space conditions, including radiation, they could be very significant for future habitats in space, such as Mars, such as the moon. And I thought this was really cool to kind of break down with you. So, doing this live on air and we're able to go back and forth and talk about, oh, that's interesting. Oh, no, not so much. And others like, oh, I didn't think about that. I can dig it, or not really. But I have a serious question. Okay, what cool fact did you learn from an entertainment show? Okay, please enlighten me. I'm trying to read the live chat to catch a cool one. Algae farm, says Chris. That sounds pretty cool. Oh, another algae farm, says Dave. Nice. Nice. Well, Jessica says you learn lots about space from Star Trek. Oh, definitely. You learn some really cool stuff. Okay. So this next one is still about Mars, and this one is an absolute game changer because there's always been this theory of there being water on Mars, that it potentially did have water in the past, and there was some evidence of that on the ground. Well, according to space.com, scientists have discovered a significant amount of water ice buried beneath the surface of Mars. And it's right on the planet's equator. So, this discovery, made using data from the Mars Express spacecraft, reveals that the ice layer is over 2 miles thick. And if melted, the water could cover Mars with a liquid layer of up to 8.8 feet deep, which is enough to fill Earth's Red Sea. This is amazingly, incredibly significant because for the longest time, people said, nope, you can't go on Mars. Nope, there's no water. You can't live there. Bye bye. There's no atmosphere. Peace out. Good luck. You're going to die there. But now, all of a sudden, or is it the right timing? Depends who you ask. is they're saying here that right on the planet's equator, there is significant ice water ice that is 2 miles thick. Once we will be able to harness that water, we could live there in a heartbeat. No, well, there will still be some issues, like a handful of issues, but water is the most significant thing. And for it to be found like this, where it's no longer a theory, but it is pretty deep in fact, that's exciting. That's super exciting. So, the presence of this ice located deep below the surface poses potential challenges for future astronauts who might land on Mars. And accessing this water for drinking or our agriculture would require ambitious drilling operations because you got to dig pretty deep to get there. But you know what? It's still worth it. Oh, and I do just want to quickly ask if my audio is okay in the live chat. I saw just a few more like are not getting any audio, so let me know if you're catching it now. But right now we have 370 people watching this live, only 226 likes. Let's beat the algorithm together and hit that like button. Let's get to 300 likes right here, right now, if and only if, of course, if you're enjoying the show. But please do answer my question. Okay, audio was good. Perfect. This is live, you know, that there's no going back from this. So, Mars, the fourth planet from the sun, is cold and it's a dusty world with a thin atmosphere known for its pretty dynamic nature with seasons and polar ice caps, canyons, and extinct volcanoes. But it has been extensively explored with rovers sent to its surface. And by the way, a day on Mars is just over 24 hours, and a year lasts 687 Earth days. So here we have 365. This year in 2024, we have an extra day because of leap year happening February 29th. Whoop, whoop. I can never catch up to these leap years or like leap seconds and leap minutes and daylight savings times. Can we just make it like super simple, guys? And the answer is no. We like to complicate things, but in reality, it's meant to like help us give us a really accurate calendar, give us really accurate time with our GPS. Okay, I get it, but like, come on, for real. The only two states that do not have daylight savings is Hawaii and Arizona. Everywhere else, they have it. We need to catch up with those two states, okay, and just get rid of it. Throw it in the trash can and never look back. But for Mars, they have nearly double the amount of days in a year. And people always complain, oh, I need more hours in the day or I need more time in the year. Move to Mars. Now there's water. Go there. You will have enough time. Hopefully. Or maybe you'll complain that you'll need more time. You just can never be satisfied, can you? No. So the discovery of this ice-rich layer, which lies at least 1,000 feet below the surface, is significant for understanding Mars's paleoclimate and could be valuable for future exploration. Why are they saying could be valuable? That is valuable. Like, there is no turnaround from that. I'm a little upset about that one. But the ice deposits might date back over 3 billion years and possibly remnants of Mars's ancient oceans. Okay, talking about ancient, what if, and we're just thinking outside of the box here, having a little fun, you and I, what if there was an intelligent species living there? Could those answers be in the ocean, 1,000 feet deep, below the surface of Mars, near the equator? Could you just imagine you're living your life on Mars? Let's say in 50, 100 years. You're just doing your thing. And you think to yourself, you know what? I want to add a little garden in my backyard. Let me do a little bit of digging. Get this like magical fairy explosion. And then what comes out? Alien tech. Dude, 5 stars. That would be the most exciting thing. It's the same kind of deal here on planet Earth, where in some parts of the world, people can be near the water or just casually digging in their backyard. Like, let's say if you live in the UK, you'll just casually dig up like Roman objects. And then near the ocean or like anywhere else, you'll just casually dig up dinosaur fossils. But imagine having that same kind of deal on Mars. Who doesn't love exploration? Who doesn't love those kinds of surprises? I don't like surprise birthday parties, but surprises that come out of nowhere, like finding money on the floor or just finding like something that you forgot that you lost and you're like, whoa, it's a gift to myself from like 5 years ago. Wow, thank you so much. Or just digging in the dirt and finding some kind of treasure. That's like the highlight of my life. It's those little spontaneous happy moments. I love it. Yes, all the time. I don't look forward to them because then it won't be spontaneous. But when it happens, you think to yourself, this was a good day. And you put on your calendar and you write good day in all caps and then you highlight it and you say, man, I want more days like this. So that's what I found really interesting about this particular case when it comes to Mars. Our next one is about quantum computing. And this one is really, really cool because when it comes to quantum computers, which the first one was created back in 1998, but it was thought out during the early 80s. Well, since 98 up until nearly present day, quantum computers have to be placed in near absolute zero temperatures, or about negative 459 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 273 degrees Celsius. You can't casually have one of those in your home. Okay. Well, according to some new studies, new findings, new inventions, they're saying, according to IFL Science, they're saying, you know what? We could very, very soon be able to place our quantum computers in a room that is room temperature. Room temperatures, let's say 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what, like 20 degrees Celsius, give or take, 22 ish. Okay. Going from that to negative 273 degrees Celsius, all the way up to like 22 degrees, that's incredibly significant. So, researchers have made a big advancement in quantum computing by achieving quantum coherence at room temperature. And this development is crucial as it allows quantum systems to maintain a well defined state without being disrupted by external factors, making quantum computers more practical to work with since they do not require cooling to extremely low temperatures. Could you imagine just casually having one in your home? Because right now, only the biggest companies have quantum computers. Okay, like IBM, Microsoft, Google, all right, those big guys, the big leagues. But imagine 10 years, 50 years, you'll just casually have a whole little room for your quantum computer that can do a bunch of tasks in one go. So cool. The core of quantum computers is a qubit, which is typically composed of a few particles in an entangled state. And this entanglement means that any interaction with one particle affects all others in the state, regardless of the distance between them. And while this is beneficial for computing, maintaining an entangled state is challenging due to how fragile it is. So, in this study, the researchers successfully created an entangled qubit state in electrons using a chromophore, a dye molecule that absorbs and emits light at specific wavelengths. And so, this was embedded in a metal organic framework known as an MOF. And this MOF's structure allowed the accumulation of many chromophores while restricting their motion. And then the limited movement was key to exciting electrons into this state while preventing the vibrations that could disrupt this state. So, what can we take from that? We can say that scientists nailed it. They know what they're doing here, and they're saying we're going to control these little qubits to the best of our ability. And they did that all while it's at room temperature, not at near absolute zero, but like how we have our homes right now at this kind of temperature. I'm telling you, we're living in such exciting times. And you might think this is so lame. No, this is the coolest thing ever. Because at some point, we will all have quantum computers. Okay, in the very near future. But anyways, the computers, like these are the computers of the future, and I can hardly imagine what they will be like, how we will use them, how they will benefit humanity when more people have these things. So sick. But then, got to bring in AI to this because it wouldn't be strange news without AI. People could say the same thing about that. 50 years ago, they're like, oh, what's artificial intelligence? What's machine learning? Oh, if we were to have it, it would revolutionize the world, which it is, and we're seeing this in real time. But people are not using it to their to the AI's best ability to benefit humanity. They're using it for pretty dumb reasons. Okay, not everyone, but a good majority of people. Could quantum computing be the same kind of deal when it becomes public for public consumption, public purchasing, where we think at this point in 2024, oh my gosh, this is going to be revolutionary. It's going to blow people's socks off, even if they're not even wearing socks. It's going to just blow their minds. And then it turns out in that time frame, they're going to be using it for the most like boring, mundane things on the planet. I guess we won't know until we get there. But how things are going right now with humanity, I think it's going to be sick. Okay, quantum computing. But will it go that far? Depends who you ask here. Will it even be made public? To everyone? I don't know. I saw a comment here. Cassidy saying weaponizing it. It's a possibility. That could be for any piece of tech. Just weaponizing it. Jazz says, my computer is fast enough right now. So you think, but wait until you compare it to something else. Okay, let me give you an example. You don't know what you have until it's gone. Like that kind of quote that we always hear. But at the same time, we don't know how good or bad something is until we compare it to something else. Okay, let me give you an example. I just moved and I've never owned a couch since I've moved out of college little poop apartment to a nicer place, which is still small, but I bought a couch. And I said, what have I been doing all of my years in college? I never knew how bad I needed a couch in my life. They're amazing. Okay. Crazy stuff. Now, before I thought that my desk chair and my like little plushy recliner was fine. I thought like I could live life like this. But then when I compared it to a couch, it was a game changer. There was no going back from that. I'm never going to live without a couch. Maybe I will at some point. But for the time being, yeah, couches, people take it for granted. It's an amazing thing. Nebula says, I'm still using my Dell 386. Dude. You know what? If it works for you, rock on. Marty says, I need a new laptop. Current one is over 13 years old. It's still running? I'm impressed. I really am. I don't feel like laptops are built to last. Now, computers, your desktop, those are okay. Those will last you a more decent amount of time. You're able to fix them, tweak them, more so than a laptop where you're only able to really change your storage for the most part, right? They're not built to last. But now quantum computers, those should last a lifetime. Yeah, tends to lag, says Marty. I can only imagine. So this particular article does go into more detail on this, and because, for instance, Professor Yasuhiro Korobi of Kobe University and a co-author of the study highlighted that this is the first instance of room temperature quantum coherence with entangled elements. And the team demonstrated that the system maintained quantum coherence for over 100 nanoseconds using microwave light, a significant achievement despite the brief duration. It's a step forward. Okay, I learned this really cool fact today talking about microwaves. So I was looking into like quantum computers. I'm not super familiar with them. And with a quantum computer, you need a Faraday cage to keep everything going. You need all of your electrons and stuff like that inside of your quantum computer. And I said, well, what mundane things have a Faraday cage? Our microwave. Like it's it's so basic. When you think about it, it is the coolest thing because a Faraday cage keeps all the microwaves wavelengths inside to not create any kind of crazy radiation outside of the microwave, keeping your food nice and hot, right? Super cool stuff. And so next time you're with somebody, doesn't even matter who it is, you can just casually whip out that fact and say, hey, guess what? Yeah, microwaves have a Faraday cage over it. You will sound so flippin' smart. Degree or no degree, doesn't even matter. Okay? Those little facts make you they make you get friends. And now you know. Country says, don't open the door. Yeah, when it comes to a microwave, I hear that you have to like wait a few seconds before you open it when it's done. Is that true? Is that just a myth? I don't know. I don't really practice it. When it's done, I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta open it now. I'm really hungry. Like lava cake. Oof, so good in the microwave. But those are my articles for today. Out of all the ones that we covered, which one was your favorite? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comments as well. I always enjoy sharing fun facts with you. That's like the highlight of all of my shows is just fun fact. For this one, it was the microwave and the Faraday cage. Did you like that one fact? Or did you thought it was, did you think it was lame? Hopefully you didn't think it was lame. That would make my heart sad. But that is it for today. There's not going to be any shows next week. Okay, so please make a note of that. I'm going to be out of town visiting family. But while you're here, scan this QR code. There you can find all of my social media links and my music channel as well. So if you need help relaxing, falling asleep, meditating, or using your imagination to wander the universe, take a look at my music channel called Cosmic Portals. And there it's the genre is space ambient music. You can find it right here through this QR code, or you can just type it onto YouTube. It's called Cosmic Portals. Follow me on Twitter at eyes_on the skies for all of my updates and news, and also on Instagram at Strange Paradigms. Also, thank you, Hides, for that link. Check out the Discord server. Speak to 3,000 other like-minded members. Share your thoughts, your insights, your experiences, and more. You can do it all right on that Discord server. But that is it for today. I will see you soon. Be safe. And remember, keep your eyes on the skies.